Nation, to another episode of Knights Table Media. We have a golfer joining us today, Mr. Caden Bertagnole. Thanks for joining us today, Caden.
Thank you. Yeah, glad to be here.
Awesome. And like I said, as we're going to be touching on the golf scene at Southern Virginia, Caden's journey coming from North Carolina. He's a junior this year, so played there for a few years. So we're going to chat about golf. And so, Caden, let's just hop right into it. We mentioned a little bit before we got on air, but kind of like a fall practice sessions. We're doing these tournaments, but the spring season is kind of when we hit the ground running. So, what's the fall been like, and the courses and things like that?
Yeah, the fall's been really good this year. Getting to play just good tournaments and whatnot. I'm doing a little bit more tournament play this year, for our qualifying in the fall. And so we've just kind of jumped right into it, got a couple tournaments early, and then other than that, it's just been practicing and kind of working on your game. Obviously, like you said, so we can be ready for that spring season and really get after it then.
Right. So walk us through, practice. Do you guys have like a home course in BV, or where do you guys practice? What does that look like?
Yeah, so this year's actually a little bit different and it's kind of harder than it was last year. Usually we play at Lexington Golf Club, but this year that got shut down. They're going through some remodels, and so we don't really have a home course this year. But we do get to practice up at the old Vista Links golf course.
Yep, yep.
So we're up there most days, and it's kind of a lot of just individual work. Golf is it's hard to have like an organized practice, where everybody does the same thing at the same time because you just need a lot of space for that. But a lot of just individual station work and whatnot up there.
Yeah. So what are some things, as you mentioned, with the station work that you've kind of been working on that you've maybe made a little? I know you got to have a well-rounded game, but the short game, the long putting. What's kind of some things you've been working on?
Yeah, for me recently, has just been a lot of like driver work, a lot of woodwork. At the last tournament that I played at, I didn't do so well hitting all the fairways. I think I hit like 26% of my fairways in regulation. And so for me, it's just been a lot of like I like to go out there and we have a couple holes, and so I just like to hit, 4 or 5 balls off the tee, pick my target, and just kind of try to hit that out there. So that's kind of been the main focus of my practice, at least this last week or two,
Uh,
out there.
I like it. And then what kind of clubs, irons? What are we rocking?
In the bag, we got some Titleist T100s for my irons. My driver's a Titleist TSR 3, and then I have a TSR 2 3 wood. And then I rock my 2 iron. It's a TMB 2 iron.
Awesome.
And then for my wedges, I just have the SM10s, the Vokey wedges. And then my putter is a pretty sweet putter. It's a Bentonardi, custom made Bentonardi that
Very
I've
cool.
got in the bag right now.
Okay, and then what about that? I always like to ask about the head covers. We got a tiger, we got a puppet. What do we got on the head covers? Just regular or?
I'm pretty basic, yeah. My brothers, they like their animals on their head covers, but I'm
Right.
pretty basic, so I just got a couple regular head covers. I do like my putter head cover though. It's got like some wizards on it, so it's like a wizard magic thing going on there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I like it. I always love, some there can be some fun head covers that I guess out here when you're at like a local municipal course and you just see some old timer rocking just a wild head cover. You're like, all right, let's get playing.
There's always something.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And that kind of I want to chat about. Obviously, you played a lot of golf. What's like the I don't know craziest thing you've seen? Maybe a hole in one, or maybe someone ended up in a lake. Like what's kind of like the craziest thing you've seen on a golf course?
The craziest thing, so I wasn't actually playing in this tournament. I was working it a few years back, but still on the golf course, and it was a member guest. Bunch of guys got pretty rowdy, and they
Yeah,
ended up in those. Have you seen those balls that people get in and they like bump each
yeah,
other?
yep, yep.
They ended up in some of those, and they were rolling themselves down the hill at the driving range. And then because they were in those like padded balls, people started hitting golf balls at them, trying to
Right.
hit them. So that was pretty wild. I
Yeah,
took a
yeah,
shot or two at them, but I didn't hit them. So
yeah. I was just thinking, if I ever saw someone in those big, inflatable ball things on the driving range, I think everyone's dialing up shots that are, going directly towards them.
they made some pretty good moving targets, that's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt. Is speaking of kind of courses and whatnot, what's I guess your favorite course you've played on, then also a course you obviously put the money aside. If you got a free invite to any course to play on, which one would you pick?
Yeah, I think my favorite golf course is probably going to be Pinehurst number 4.
Yep. Okay.
Um, there's an array of golf courses there. I think they got a couple. But I think for me, I love number 4. I just like the way it sets up. It can play hard but fair, and I've always had a good time out there. But I think if I could get my free invite, play anywhere, I would I would do a lot of things to play Augusta National down in Georgia
Yeah.
where they play the Masters. I'd love to get out there.
Yeah. No, for sure. I feel like that's on a lot of people's list. It's every year it comes around, everyone's trying to angle a way to get a ticket or get on there or get on a waiting list and play. So yeah, that's a great pick there. And then as far as maybe some of your best shots, whether it's a hole in one, what is it, an albatross, something like what's kind of your the shot you dream about that you've hit, that kind of you play over and over.
I dream about hitting a hole in one. I've never hit one. So I dream about one day getting that elusive hole in one. But I think probably, oh, my favorite shot comes from a tournament I was playing in the US Kids Golf World Championships. This was 6 or 7 years ago now. And I was playing Pinehurst number 4. And there's a par 5 on the back nine. It's a dog leg left, and there's a pond. You hit your tee shot like over these bunkers, and then you have like 240 into the par 5 or whatever. So I was down there, and my high school coach was actually with me that tournament. So he'd come down, and it wasn't a high school tournament, but he just came to watch. And he's down there with me in the fairway, and he's like asked me what I'm gonna do. And I was in the fairway about 240 from the pin. And then I told him, I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna hit 3 wood, at the green." And he's like, "I don't think that's a good idea. Like, I don't think you should do that." And I don't, I kind of told him, I was like, "Well, coach, like, I gotta hit the shot. So that's what I'm gonna hit." And he's like, "Whatever." And I just hit this little butter cut right at the pin, and it finished about, oh, that far from the pin, and I
Jeez.
tapped in for eagle. But the way that it came off the club face, I just knew that it was good instantly. And then I
Yeah.
turned and looked at my coach, and he's like, "Well, if you're gonna hit it like that, you can hit that shot." I was like, "Yeah, that's fair too."
Yeah, yeah. Now if you shank it left or something, then it's like, all right, maybe we shouldn't have done that. But when you pure it, it changes the director, the direction of the conversation. And there's something about the noise a golf ball makes when you strike it well. I don't know. It's definitely a top, I guess, sports noise. You could say like a swish or playing baseball catch. But when you pure a club, a golf ball, that's up there.
Yeah, I could get behind that.
Yeah,
That's a good sound.
yeah.
Keeps you
No,
coming back.
oh yeah, for sure. Well, and it's always that like kind of old adage or whatever. It's always like hole 16, 17, 18 when you either like birdie or you hit a nice shot where you're like, all right, maybe I'll come back next time. We'll keep it. We'll keep coming back and keep swinging it.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I want to talk a little bit about. So you're from North Carolina, had a great high school career, and then I guess rolling up to playing in college. What was that process like? Then ending up at Southern Virginia, a little closer to home, but still had to travel a ways. But what was that like?
Yeah, I kind of have a crazy story when it comes down to it. I was born and raised in Wyoming my whole life, and so thought I was going to maybe go to school out there. My senior year of high school, though, my family moved to North Carolina.
Mm,
And so that senior year, I played out in North Carolina, had a great year, and I ended up committing to play golf at a school in North Carolina. And then from there, I ended up at a tournament with the Southern Virginia golf team, and I got paired with one of the guys. He was a senior last year, Mason, and he's just a great guy. So I ended up talking to him like that whole day, and he's just telling me about SVU and how great the guys were and whatnot. And it just sounded like something that I would enjoy. So I ended up going on a mission. And while I was on my mission, well, before I left on my mission, I entered the transfer portal and I sent an email to coach here at school. And I just kind of like said, "Hey, I'm going on my mission. But when I come back, like I won't have played golf for a couple years, but I'd be interested in playing for you." And he's like, "Okay, like if it works out, basically, we'll get back in touch in a couple years." So I was on my mission and I'd been out for like a year and a half. I was about 6 months from coming home. My family was kind of asking me, like, "What are you gonna do?" And I was like, "Don't talk to me about that yet. Like, I don't know what I need to do or what I want to do." But right around the time they start asking me that, I started thinking about it and I was like, okay. I never really looked up SVU or anything, so I just like got online and looked up SVU, did a little bit of research. Anyway, about 6 months from coming out, the coach, we usually go on overnight trips and we usually end up staying somewhere on Sunday, and so the team will go to church somewhere. The team ended up going to church where my family goes to church, and the coach ended up meeting my dad and was like, "Wait, like your last name sounds familiar. It's a difficult one." And so my dad was like, "Oh yeah, like that was my kid that emailed you a couple years ago or whatever." And he's like, "No way, like give me his email. Like I need to get back in touch with him." And so through that process, I ended up here at SVU. Last year was my first year, and it was probably the best year of team golf I've had in my life. I loved it out here, and so we're back again this year.
Can better than ever. Well, yeah, great story. And talk to us a little bit about kind of being on the team, being on at SVU, kind of what that's like. A little bit different dynamic than other sports teams, obviously, because it's like individual, but then also team wise. But what's that like?
Yeah, I think we have probably, I would argue we have the best group of guys at the school. So I don't know if any other teams want to take me up on that. I may be wrong, but um, we got a real good group of guys. And really, the hard thing about golf is that it's individual, and so you're kind of playing against each other, even though you're on the same team. But at the end of the day, you're on the same team, and so you're trying to see each other succeed. And I think we have a really good culture on our team of, I want the guy next to me to do as well as he can, and I hope that my best is hopefully good enough to beat him when I need to. But at the end of the day, it's really cool to see how the guys kind of come together, and we just want to see each other succeed and have the best years that we can all have.
Yeah, great. Well put in. Yeah, like you said, it's such an interesting dynamic where you're going against each other, but you're not at the same time, but you are. So yeah, it can, as you alluded to, having that team culture and good dynamic can go a long way, because I feel like it could get pretty awkward. If people start like having beef with each other that's on the same team, like that's not gonna be good for anybody. Especially going forward. So that's good to hear, and I think a lot of athletes will agree with that sentiment, SVU, with the culture and things like that. And then upcoming, I think it's in a few days, you guys are playing down in Winchester. So have you played that course before? Are you looking forward to it?
I never have, so
Okay.
I've heard it's a good course though. I'm sure they'll kill it up there.
Yeah, it'll be fun. And so I think you have, what is that, a four or so remaining tournaments, and then obviously in the spring, kind of the season starts. So walk us through kind of the rest of your fall into spring, what you're looking forward to, and how you're getting ready.
Yeah, for me, it's just going to be tighten down my game. Got a couple things that I want to work on before we kind of take that winter hiatus and we don't get to play for a couple months. But it's always good to feel good going into winter. Because if you feel good about your game going into winter, then you just get to hang out with the guys. You get to, have a good winter and you kind of do what you can through, simulated practice. But then as soon as we get to the spring, I'm just looking forward to hitting the ground running. And I think we probably have our best team yet this year. So just looking forward to having a great year.
Yeah, no doubt. We'll be looking forward to cover. And well, I guess I was actually curious about golfing because I've watched the Netflix documentaries, whatever that is, and a lot of whoop action. They love wearing those bad boys. So do you rock a whoop, or what's your kind of your training philosophy?
If you would have asked me last year, I could have given you a 30-minute dissertation on why Whoop was the greatest thing ever. I'm a big Whoop fan, big Whoop supporter, and I love them. So I don't have one right now, my subscription right now, and I didn't
I
renew
see.
it,
Okay,
but
gotcha.
I will be renewing it. Big Whoop guy.
I love to see. I feel like golfers are big up. They put it up on the arm, like the bicep area. Is that
The
what you
I'm
rock?
band, yeah.
Okay,
I was
so
on the wrist. I like the
okay.
wrist one. My brother wears it on his arm though, so it's
All right,
definitely a
interesting.
thing.
Yeah, just the arm. I feel like maybe you'll get used to it, but I feel like because it's your swing, like your hands are in the way of it. Is that why they put it up there?
That's what they say. They say they feel it on their wrist.
Hmm.
I never did.
Yeah,
So
interesting. All right. Well, I like it. Yeah, I just for some reason that just came into my mind. I was like, I got a golfer. I got to ask. So yeah, they popped it in. But Caden, we appreciate you coming on today and talking to Night Nation. And where can they find you? Maybe what you got upcoming. I don't know. We'll give you the floor to kind of close us out here.
we're gonna be playing a lot of tournaments this fall and this spring. So keep your eyes out on all the night pages and whatnot. And I don't know, just looking forward to killing it and doing the best we can.
Yeah, love to hear it. And is it open to the public, you guys tournaments, or how does that work?
Yeah,
Somewhat.
absolutely. So if
Yeah.
somebody feels like they want to come out, I mean, they can come out and they can watch us, and And usually we got a pretty good record. We usually win a couple events a year, so they
Yeah,
got a pretty good chance of watching us win one if they come
we
out.
we like it. Well, and we got to get Lexington open up down there so you guys can have a home course. So maybe we're gonna maybe grease some wheels over there or get that opened up here soon.
Exactly.
All right, kid, and we appreciate you coming on and talking to us about golf, your background, and the future. So, like Night Nation, as you know, make sure to follow Caden on the socials and also the pages. We'll keep you updated on all things Night Sports. So we'll see you guys next week. Thanks again, Caden.
Thank you guys.